video, I'm going to be going over how to sign high-ticket B2B clients on Upwork. If you've ever wondered how some freelancers on Upwork consistently land those high-paying B2B clients while others struggle with low-budget projects, then today I'm going to reveal the secrets to identifying, attracting, and signing high-ticket B2B clients on Upwork. Let's first start off by going about how we identify high payers. So let's talk about how to spot these golden opportunities. High-ticket B2B clients often have detailed job descriptions, clear expectations, and mention long-term collaborations. So you've all seen job descriptions of this nature, incredibly detailed. Typically, they've spent quite a bit on Upwork in the past, and they mention that they want to work for upwards of 3 months. This is a clear indicator that the client knows exactly what they want. Specifically or typically with freelancers, upwards of 3 months. The same could be said for agency owners, but I tend to avoid these jobs for my agency clients because typically they want someone who is able to work with them in the capacity of an employee. So I tend to avoid these jobs because of this. There are exceptions to every single rule, and what I say now doesn't necessarily have to be true for the future. So keep that in mind. A good rule of thumb though is to look for businesses that have a verified payment method. So a history of hiring on Upwork, and they have positive feedback from other freelancers. Now, once again, this isn't something that's set in stone, so you don't necessarily have to only apply 2 or 4 jobs that have these specific criteria, because you have to remember that there are new corporations signing up to Upwork every single day, and as a result, not every single person, especially corporations that are doing 7 figures plus in monthly recurring revenue, are going to have payment verified method or previous history of hiring. Another thing that you need to take into account is that not every single client takes the freelancer or the contractor on the platform. So they may take them off and they do their invoicing through a third party as opposed to staying on Upwork and getting hit by the fees. Now, myself personally, I recommend that everybody stays on Upwork, not just because it keeps in line with TOS, but also because you need to think of your Upwork profile as a form of social media. So it serves as more of a digital footprint and a form of social proof. So people can jump onto the Upwork profile and see that you already have that form of a track record. Even if the client isn't from Upwork itself, you can use Upwork to verify that you're a legitimate person. You're verified by Upwork, you've taken deals through Upwork in the past, and that will help clients, prospects to trust you even more as a result. So these metrics that I mentioned prior, they're nice for reassurance, but it isn't a necessity. Like, you can still apply to these jobs that don't have payment verified method, any prior history, or any feedback whatsoever. Typically, you want to avoid negative feedback, of course, but if they have no feedback whatsoever, then it doesn't hurt to apply nonetheless. Another tip is to check out your company website. So once again, it's not a necessity, it's not a must-have, but it's a nice-to-have. So not every single client or prospect on the platform will make their websites or company websites details privy to the freelancer or agency owner. So you have to do a bit of extra digging, but you won't always be privy to the information, or your methods of digging won't always work. So in that sense, once again, it's not a must-have, it's a nice-to-have. If you do somehow get their company website, then this is a great form to not only see how far along the client is. By that I mean, if they have a well-established online presence, it often indicates that they understand the value of investing in high-quality services. But more than likely, they've contracted someone to do it, and even though there are cases where a contractor is exceptionally proficient at their jobs but charge less, that's more often than not, that's not typically the case. So they're spending upwards of 4, maybe even 5 figures to get a website of that caliber. While you can also use the company website, further personalize your proposals. And lastly, I want to finish the first point by saying, never judge a project by its budget. Many clients can pay way more than the designated budget. You just need to qualify them beforehand and then push for pricing changes. But we'll discuss how to qualify a client or prospect in more detail a bit later. Just keep this in mind 100%. Not because the budget is $5 to $15 and all. This isn't an indicator of how much the client is able to pay you in actuality. You need to remember that these clients, prospects, whatever you'd like to refer to them as, don't necessarily know how much the service they're trying to outsource contract someone else costs. They have a rough idea, or they have an idea of what they want to pay. More often than not, they don't know how much it actually costs. So keep that in mind and make qualification and then negotiation your priorities when reaching out to new prospects. Point number 2 is understanding the demand. So I made a video on this previously, you can check it out up here, but you need to understand whether what you're trying to sell, that there's actually a demand for it, because it's one thing to be super proficient at a particular skill, and then it's another thing for it to be not only offered on Upwork, but for there to be high ticket clients that are willing to pay that much as well. The high ticket B2B clients often look for specialized skills. So think about AI, machine learning, lead generation, direct response copywriting, video editing, etc. These skills are at the forefront of the market right now, as all of us are well aware, and as a result, people are willing to pay top dollar these services to be done for them in not only a timely manner, but also in an optimized and genuinely great delivery or above par delivery. So I'm not telling you to get onto Upwork trying to offer logo designs, because there's not really a huge market for people paying $4,000 to $5,000 plus for logos. I know it happens, but it's highly unlikely. So to that end, stay updated with industry trends. So the more specialized your skill set, the higher the demand and the higher you can actually charge. So right now, once again, AI and machine learning is at the forefront. If you're new to the whole freelancing landscape as agency landscape, once again, I would recommend checking out a video that I made in the past about it, but these skills are at the forefront right now. You need to be taking advantage of them, but if you do offer others, then and you have a previous track record of gaining results for not only clients but also for yourself, then perfectly fine as well. So there's a lot of demand for many skills on Upwork, but just because it's there doesn't mean it will be profitable. So that's why prior I've listed some of the highest earning skills on the platform in my experience. So ones that I've done for not only myself, but also for clients that I've had in the past and even current. The third point is positioning yourself as an expert. So your Upwork profile is what will drive the most conversions towards your operations and your brand. Don't be disillusioned into thinking that your proposal is the end all be all. You can take as many cover letters as you want, you can watch as many YouTube videos as you want. None of it will work if your profile sucks. So once again, I've made a video in the past about how to create and optimize profile description for highest conversion rates on Upwork. So you can look at it somewhere up here. I recommend watching that video before getting further into what it means to have a great profile, an optimized profile. So just to make a long story short, I won't go that much in depth. Highlight your niche skills, showcase your best work, and gather testimonials from clients that you currently have or have had in the past. Consider creating content outside of Upwork, like blog posts, videos similar to this, to establish your authority in your field. Then link these resources in your profile. So if you're an expert on whatever it is that you do or offer, then there's no harm in making YouTube videos on it, like what I'm doing now, tweeting about it, just demonstrating your expertise through these free social media platforms, building your real estate, making your content live rent-free in the minds of your listeners or of your audience. It doesn't hurt. All it does is increase your authority, and it also increases the trust that prospects will have in you, especially when you do something more personal like videos and they can see your face. So number 4 would be the qualification process. Not every high paying client is going to be the right fit for you. There can be jobs where they're offering 4, 5, maybe even 10,000 monthly recurring revenue, but it's a position that's tantamount to being an employee. They're hiring you to work exclusively for their company. Even though the budget might be enticing to you as an agency owner, especially, you won't be able to take these jobs on because you'll be pulling all of your resources towards one client, and in the long run that will only serve to shoot you in the foot no matter how much they're paying you, because then everything else, all of your other clients would then be suffering as a result of it. So discuss their long-term goals, understand their expectations, and ensure they value quality over quick cheap solutions. I have heard from so many prospects at this point that there aren't people willing to pay top dollar on Upwork because there's some Filipino, Pakistani, Indian VA that's willing to do the same work for $4 to $5 an hour, whereas they're charging upwards of $50 an hour. Now, competition is inevitable in every space, regardless of where you are, and there'll always be low ballers in the space as well. Low ballers meaning those who are willing to do the work for less. But a truly good client doesn't worry about how much the project will cost them in the long run, especially if it's netting them way more in terms of an ROI than what they're actually paying for. So that's something you need to keep in mind as well. Alex Hormozy preaches offers, and you can think of offers as the end all be all, because if you have a good offer, regardless of how much it will cost them, more than likely it's going to convert relatively well. So if a client is unable to pay you for the work necessary to them, it's either they can't because they simply don't have the resources, or they can't. There's no in between. It's either they can pay or they can't pay. So especially on Upwork, where every lead is high intent and they already know what it is that they want, you need to understand that the only differentiator between a closed client and a client that doesn't close, or a qualified and an unqualified client, typically has to do with pricing. And the simplest way that I'd be able to tell it to qualify these clients is by using intake forms. So you schedule a meeting in with the client and you ask them, using a scheduling software like Calendly, Qt, you gather information, or you use the intake form, ask them what their revenue is as well as what the budget is for the project. This way you'd at least have rudimentary figures as to how much they're willing to invest and how you'd be able to pitch them on whatever it is that you do. So that's a plus. But there are many factors that come into play because the client can lie. Most of it is just really just lying on the form, because they can say that they make a certain amount of revenue when in reality they don't. I've had cases where clients have filled out my intake form and have said that they're doing only 5 to 10,000 in revenue when they're in actuality a 6-figure company. 6 figures as in per month. Monthly recurrent revenue. So I would still use intake forms and ask specific questions to qualify them. If you know you have a qualification process already being employed, then simply translate that into questions on the form. Don't use too many questions because that could be a barrier of entry towards them setting the call. So I'd stick between 5 to 6 questions and make most of them yes or no questions. Number 5 would be crafting winning proposals. Once again, I think I've made more than 3 videos on this topic already because it's the one that's in highest demand. People think that proposals are the end all be all, and in reality that's just not the case. But I have made videos in the past going over how exactly I write my proposals. I even have tutorials on how I've done so. So once again, you can either check the description or the video might be somewhere up here. But to make a long story short, your proposal is your pitch, so you need to personalize it using every piece of information that the prospect has given to you in the job description. Always keep that in mind whenever you're doing your proposal. It needs to be personalized. The prospect needs to feel like you've made this proposal just for them and no one else. That's why templates don't really work, because those, especially who have been on Upwork for extended periods of time, know that a lot of people use templates to kind of reduce the workload and try to maximize results. It just doesn't work that well, especially if you're new to the platform. You have zero earnings, zero track record. There's nothing to leverage but your proposal. So address the client's specific needs, showcase your expertise, and explain why you're the best fit for the job. And please do this concisely. Do not write 3 to 4 paragraphs on why they should go with you. Do not be needy. Just get the point across and call it at that. Lastly, include a call to action. So encourage them to schedule a call with you or ask further questions to keep the conversation going. Now, I've said this once again in the videos that I've made, but the only point of your proposal is to get the clients onto a call with you. Nothing more, nothing less. We're going to lean in to say this. Nothing more, nothing less. Please do not try to sell them in the proposal, and please do not try to sell them in the messages either. Get them onto a call, discuss their exact needs, and then go based on that. Negotiate your prices, pitch them, close them only on the call. Okay, so lastly, it's just building trust. So high ticket B2B clients need to know that they can trust you with their investment, and you need to give them reasons that solicits their trust. The entire point of the profile is to solicit that trust. So whether it's a video introduction, portfolio elements, previous experience, testimonials, these are what actually solicit trust from a prospect. And that's how you'll get these high ticket clients, by proving to them that you've done this many times in the past successfully, and there's no reason why they wouldn't be able, or you wouldn't be able to do the same for them. So be transparent about your process, provide regular updates while you're working with them, always be open to feedback. Because remember, trust is built over time. It takes so many years of dedicated work to build your reputation, but it would only take one day or one instance for it to all come crumbling down. So build trust with that in mind. That's going to be it for the video. If you're serious about leveraging Upwork as a means of lead generation, then consider going into the description below, booking in a call with me to see how best we'd be able to help you, if at all. If you liked the video, be sure to share, comment your thoughts on it, subscribe, and of course like. Till next time, peace.